My name is Prashant Malaviya. I'm a professor of marketing at Georgetown University and also the vice dean of all of our programs, both undergraduate and graduate programs. And one of the programs that we recently launched and that I also supervise is the Executive MBA program in Dubai. It was launched last year in 2023, September, and we are working through with our first cohort of students in the program. They are in their second semester right now. There were several considerations that led us to explore a presence outside of Washington, D.C., outside of the U.S. One, from a more strategic and mission perspective, we believe that we are a global business school. We have a reputation for being one of the premier global business schools in the world, often ranked in the top 5 on that specific dimension. However, we had never had a physical presence outside of the US, outside of DC. And we felt that that was something that we needed to think about and address. We believe that by having this exposure in the outside world, our faculty, our staff, and our students here in the US campus will benefit, will gain broader knowledge about how global business operates. And ultimately, our vision is to be the premier destination for global business education from the US. So that was sort of a broader strategic consideration. But there were also, more other considerations that arise from trends that we see in the marketplace. So a trend that is not, I don't want to say gaining strength, but certainly it's not going away, is a steady decline in graduate business education interest in the US. So within the US, there's been a steady decline in the number of applicants to graduate business programs. And, there have been moments like COVID, when that changed and suddenly there were lots of people interested in graduate programs. But, if you look at our full-time MBA, the applications have been declining. Our part-time MBA applications are declining. And this is true not just for us, but across the board. At the same time, we also observe that there are many parts of the world where there is still a deep hunger for business education, perhaps education in general, in the Middle East, certainly, but also in many parts of Asia, Africa, Latin America. There are large pockets of individuals who are looking for high quality education. And they're also looking for education that is a US inspired or US based business education. So that led us to explore various locations around the world. We started off by examining over a dozen different cities around the world, narrowed down our focus to a couple of them, and did a deeper dive in both of these cities, and ultimately decided on Dubai for a number of reasons. One, there is a huge amount of investment happening in the UAE, but in the broader Middle East region, in what they call talent development, which is essentially massive amounts of investment in education and upskilling of individuals. We also found that Georgetown University as an institution has a very high level of reputation and awareness. And so that was pleasantly surprising, but also a very good indicator. And finally, we have a number of alumni who are very well placed in the region, who have been tremendous supporters of this initiative and of our presence in the region. And so, we thought that the stars are essentially aligning, and we should capitalize on this opportunity. And coupled with all of that, the geopolitics of today are becoming more and more challenging. Often international students find it hard to come to the U.S. If they are able to come to the U.S., they find it even harder to find jobs in the U.S. It looks like there is reasonable demand for a Georgetown business education outside of the US, where people get a high quality education and then carve out a career for themselves that is meaningful and interesting, but it is not based in the US. And so, all of those things sort of came together in our decision to make this move. So the Executive MBA program that we've launched in Dubai is very sort of heavily inspired by our current Executive MBA program that we offer in Washington, D.C. This program has been running since the late 90s, so it's a fairly well-established program. It has done well for itself. A few years ago, it was ranked #1 in the U.S. We are still amongst generally in the top 10, sometimes maybe 11 or 12 in the US. So, it's a well-regarded, highly reputed program. It's been there for a while. And it had, lots of innovative elements in the curriculum when the program was launched. So we took a lot of the elements of the DC Executive MBA program and took that as a starting point in designing the program for Dubai, for the Middle East region. To clarify, our expectation is that we are going to attract individuals in Dubai who are obviously from the UAE and also the broader Middle East region, but also from North Africa and East Africa, as well as South Asia. So we sort of have what we call a Manasa strategy: Middle East, North Africa, South Asia. And so we designed the program with that population in mind. And while 80% of the curriculum is the same as we have in Washington, D.C., there are obviously programmatic changes. If you are teaching accounting, then you want to teach accounting that is consistent with the accounting infrastructure and legal apparatus in the region rather than in the US, right? So obviously those sort of content changes had to be made, but more important changes were about some specific core classes that we introduced in the Dubai program that don't exist in our program in DC. So as an example, in the UAE specifically, their business operates in very strong collaboration with government and with government entities. And so there was a need that became clear to us as we spoke with various constituents in the region of a course that we call public-private partnership. So it's really a course that provides models of public-private partnership engagements so that the public enterprises and the governments best serve the societal needs. So this was a new course we created. We found an expert here in the DC region who has developed this course, and we are really excited about offering it, and it'll be offered this coming fall semester. Similarly, there was a strong interest in courses like on sustainability and the management of sustainable businesses. Again, given Dubai just hosted the COP28 summit, and they have declared last year and this year as the year of sustainability. So there's strong interest in that. There's strong interest in understanding management of investments. So, we created a new core class that is all about investment management. Given the billions and billions of dollars that are being invested in the UAE and in Saudi Arabia and other parts of that region. There's upskilling that is needed on that front. So, we basically listened to what the constituents were saying, where they were investing for the next decade, what their needs were, and created 4 new courses that are specific to this program. Now, having developed these courses, the interesting thing is that our MBA program in DC is now also interested, and they are going to offer these courses as electives for their students in Washington, DC. So, this is the kind of, back and forth and learning from each other that we were hoping that a presence in another part of the world would inspire our main campus, and we are already seeing some of that happening. So, that's a big part of the overview of the curriculum. The last bit I would add is there are 2 occasions when the students who are in our MBA program in Dubai will visit Washington, DC. One is at the end of their first year, and the second time is at the end of their second year. And the program is a 2-year program. And so the first time when they come, they will basically be working on a consulting project for a local US business, because again, one of the interests that was expressed was in understanding US business by sort of getting our hands and feet dirty and getting into, really understanding the nitty-gritty of US business. So, we have contracted with several DC and New York-based companies, and they have given projects that they are currently working on. And these projects are being assigned to student teams who will then work on solving the business problem that these companies are currently grappling with. So that's the first time they will come and sort of get a sense of how US businesses operate. The second time they will come at the end of the program is really to understand how business is impacted by what we call non-market forces, such as regulation and policy and diplomacy and the legal infrastructure, and diplomacy and all kinds of other factors and forces that a senior business leader needs to keep in mind as they think about their business strategy. And what better laboratory to learn about all of this than Washington, DC? We have the regulators here, we have the policymakers here, we have the politicians here, we have all of the embassies here. So that week when the students are here will be a very immersive experience for them in meeting all of these important individuals from different aspects of the non-market forces that operate for business, meet with them, interact with them, ask them questions, and really get to understand how business is influenced by the deliberations of all of these other individuals. So, that's a unique new course that we have developed for this program as well. We promised that we will deliver a Georgetown McDonough quality education in Dubai, in the Middle East. And that meant that we fly all of our professors who teach in our Executive MBA here in DC to go and fly and teach in Dubai and fly back. We are, obviously going to build a bench of high quality professors in the local region. But for now, all of our classes are delivered by professors who teach here in DC, and they fly over and teach for. And the way our classes are run is every month classes happen for 4 days. So it's an immersive 4-day experience for our students. And the 4 days are Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which means that the students need to essentially take a day and a half off from work. Actually a day off from work. So classes start on Thursday after lunch. So they have to take off from work for half a day on Thursday. And Fridays are typically half days in the region. So they have to take off half a day on Friday. and then, Friday the rest of the day, all day Saturday, Sunday, our weekends. So there is a bit of sacrifice that the students have to make from a work perspective, essentially. But it's a proposition that seems to work because we are essentially saying you need to take off one day from work in a month, and that seems highly doable. It's important to clarify that at the McDonough School of Business, all of our MBA programs, and we now have 5 different types of MBA programs, all our MBA programs are general management programs. In other words, there are no majors that students can take, whether they are in a full-time program, part-time program, executive program, or our online program now. They are all general management programs. That being said, there is a flavor to our MBA education that is uniquely Georgetown, and that is associated with us, and that's a reputation that we have built. And there are really 2 aspects to the flavor of our MBA. One is there is a strong dose of global business rather than any local geography of business that we focus on. So all of our MBA students essentially graduate with a deeper understanding of how global businesses operate. And second, the example that I gave of this new 1-week course that we have developed in Washington, D.C., given who we are and given all the colleges that we have at Georgetown, our education typically is always looks at the what we call the nexus of business with policy, with regulation, with law, with diplomacy, etc. So you sort of naturally get this sense of not just understanding business in depth, but how is business influenced by other forces that operate in society. So those are sort of 2 elements or 2 aspects, I would say, that highlight all of our MBA degrees, the global nature and also the cross-disciplinary nature of the education. Career services is a very important part of, again, all of our programs, whether they're undergraduate or graduate. We have a very robust career services team. And for working professionals like our Executive MBA students, generally, the career support that they are looking for is what we label as career coaching. So they are looking for, how to navigate their company policies, how to best negotiate a promotion or a raise, how to move from a current functional role to some other functional role that they may be very interested in. So these are not individuals who are in the program because they are looking for another job in some other place. They are really looking to accelerate their job or to find more meaning in their job that they are into. They are senior executives, they are successful. So it's really about how to fine-tune their professional experience. Having said that, and so this is the support that we are providing in Dubai as well, that it's mostly focused on career coaching. However, what we have discovered in our in the 8 months that we've been running the program, that many individuals in the region are being encouraged by typically their government employers to seek private sector job opportunities. And this is part of the vision of the country, that we want to become more professional, and one way to do that is to encourage our citizens who may be employed in government offices and doing well there, but to take their talents to private sector enterprise. And so there is a small group of individuals who are looking for the typical kind of career services that, for example, a full-time MBA is looking for, where they are saying, I'm here not just to learn how to, interview and negotiate and so on, but also how to find a job. So help me identify what would be the best career for me. Help me identify how do I go about searching. Help me figure out how to network in my industry. So we started with our plan to provide career coaching services, but since then we have started to expand our suite of career support services that would include more of a job search rather than just career coaching services. I think the biggest surprise, and this is a surprise that in some ways stems from an unconscious arrogance, if anything, on our part, that the students in the class are super smart. Most of our professors who have taught there so far would agree that they are easily the same caliber as the students here on our DC campus, but in many ways maybe even superior in their experience, in their thoughtfulness, in their creativity and critical thinking. So we have been surprised by the caliber of the students, and the surprise has been even stronger among some of the women students in the class, who have a level of hunger for knowledge and learning that easily surpasses what many of us have experienced in our lifetime, in education. And these are individuals who for various reasons were unable to leave the country to go and study in a US or a UK or anywhere else in the world. And now here there is a highly reputed US university that is offering a high caliber program, and they are just jumping right in and soaking it all in. It's been a revelation, but also a pleasure to interact with these students and help them in their journeys.